Well, good day, beautiful X family. Thank you so much for joining us today. The weather is warm in the UK. They have put out weather warnings and are warning everyone to go very careful in the sunshine. We have hit 34 degrees today, which is an absolute pleasure for us. If any of you are in the UK, I'm sure you're experiencing the warmth as well. And this is down to the lack of the moon. So today we're going to be going over the second part of the A and E, concluding it to the 5 and 6. And this will be expressing via language and words and symbols how to merge the micro and macrocosm through the elemental bodies: mind, body, spirit, and emotion. And as I'm sure you're all aware, as you've been with us for some time, these processes, but it's here to bring the occult to light and for each and every one of you to understand the simplicity of the ancient arts of knowing the self. So would you like to start with anything that you have?
Yeah, so I've got a few pictures to go through and a few questions from last time we did one of the shows. So we'll start with the questions, and I just wanted to show a screen share with you one of the pictures. Last time we went over the chakras. Just start with the question. It was the mantra and its role within the etymological understanding. And are there any words that are useful to contemplate as mantra?
Mantra. Within the word mantra, you can see Manti Ra. Ra being the sun or the source of light, the 7-color spectrum of the electromagnetic scale. And here is just expressing photon, and mantra would be the balancing of the alpha moving towards the physicality of the full magnetic alpha wave. So the incandescent colors connected to gold. And gold would be the goal of our form. D is 4, which is form. So essentially, it all leads back to bringing yourself into a perfect balance. And as a mantra, what it tends to do, because attention is focused on something so intensely, that the attention's been given from the mind or the ego into a focus point, which tends to dissolve the identity or the repeating commentary that exists inside the ego. So mantras can serve people who tend to have a lot of noise or a lot of chatter to find themselves in a state that is pure, clean, and present. It's nothing too mystified or magic. And we sometimes on the spiritual journey see these mantras as something that is absolutely necessary to be the self. But know that you are never not the self. It's just the ideas and the concepts that we hold that separate us from the true self, experiencing and enjoying the momentary presence of phenomenal reality.
So I just wanted to show you the word again, the mantra. If we look at the second half backwards, it's actually art. And one of the cards in the tarot, the art card, is actually temperance. So this is like a balanced state of being, the art of man. So mantra is like an art that we can create. It's another way to express an energy or a frequency or a vibration. out into the universe, and we receive it back as a gift. And so a mantra that we can actually chant or speak is actually a vibration that we can hold through a meditation or an inner peace that we can hold. So creating that art through our physical being. It's a beautiful way to express.
It is, and if you find yourself in a position to experience chanting and mantras, you can check your own physical science and observe anything that happens to you on your own individual journey. Again, you are never not the self. It is just these ideas that we hold that separate us from that knowing. We can never ever be anything but the source of creation ourselves.
So our next piece of information with regards to the A and E, I'll just draw them as they come up. So we have the A and the E. So when we join them up, they become the double torus. And here is where we have our chakras and the die state in the center. And then across the center here, we have that plane of inertia. So I'll screen share the torus fields with you. So that's our double torus there. Yeah. So this is again creation is the 72, and then we have the 144 that we spoke of last time, which is our 144,000. And then the torus flips, and we have the AL and the EL energies that reciprocate and create that magic.
As you well know from the AL and the EL, before we have the AL as in the alpha wave or red shift, the EL as in the blue shift, and then unity creates light, life, plasma, inertia planes.
So when we have something in the matrix, Tesla, or the guy that has taken on Tesla is Elon. So we've got L on, and then I know some of you may know his child has just been called the X, AE, and then a 12. So the X is our balance, the A and E, the torus field, and then A12 is actually AL. So we have Elon and his little baby there for the matrix side of things, which is, you know, is a really strange name that he would call his baby with A and E and the X to start. So we look at all these signs and symbols, and they start to manifest in a reality that's not just in a spiritual realm, but in the matrix as well. So these kind of things are very prompting to observe and see how they unfold.
You will see it, you know, if you tend to spend some time inside the world looking at its, you say, the tricks within the matrix, you'll find that everything has its place. There is no coincidence there. And such a thing as this is an absolute part of this stage in creation. So I'll just let someone in. If you have studied, you'll find even, let's say, the cartoon The Simpsons, for example, and how they have pre-predicted programming on many events that happen in the future or near future of their airing, you know, such as Trump being president is one of them. But this is the nature of consciousness itself. So when you can begin to see these things, it begins to open you up to a new heightened seeing and a recognition of what this experience truly is. It is magnificence, and you are here to magnify sense as awareness itself. But yes, you couldn't write this book better. And the language that we share and the decoding that we have done with it will show you the absolute truth.
So just moving on to another aspect of the 1 and 5 before we do the 5 and 6. On screen share another image for you. We have the AL, which is the sun, and the EL, which is representation of the moon. We have the Adam and the Eve, so the A and the E again. So these correspond to the A and the E. And if you look at their numerology from their names or their call-ins, they break down to the 1 and the 5. And these kind of things that link into each other, they're not just coincidences, they are
divine synchronizations of consciousness.
And then how we say how the energy works here, we have action from the AL side and emotion from the EL side. It's again those representations of the words that follow through. When we look at the Ida and the Pingala, we have there the energy that flows and it creates that divine magic as it comes up. And when we unblock those chakras, we can really see that spiral of energy that comes out with that bright light of the 144,000 that we spoke of last time. And when we're in that balanced state, all of this energy is able to flow through us, and we are able to gain mastery and control over the avatar, and then we can create magic. And this is what we're going to move on to with the 5 and the 6 as they join. This is what creates that.
Because the 5 and the 6, I mean, the 5 would be the EL, but the 6 isn't the 6 until you have merged it with the AL, being the 1. So the 1A, 5E creates the 6. And I will stop this share. And if we go into quickly have I got time to do this?
Yeah.
The Star of David, or it could be called the Seal of Solomon. Now, these are the two energies, masculine and feminine. Masculine and feminine energies joined in perfection and pure balance. So the Seal of Solomon, the Seal of Solomon, the solar one, the sine wave of E and A, L, which is what we're expressing here, is the E and A. This creates the master templar, the master builder, in unity with the absolute perfection.
If we screen share that shot of that one as well, because this is quite a useful picture. So we have the two masculine energies, the fire and the air, and then the feminine energies, the water and the earth. And when they come together and unite, this is the masculine and feminine energies merging, like the Lover's card. They come into true balance, and this is when we have that unification and the androgynous figure that we see on Temperance card. This is when we
this is sacred sex, the true sacred sex. This is what the ancient mysticism has been trying to express through hidden symbology, as the consciousness wasn't ready to express such divinity at that particular time. But in this moment of our experience, the elevation and the increasing of awareness is here for all to understand this. And our purpose in this experience is to transcend the ego, as we are beyond the limitations that it causes. So rather than to copy, or to clone, loan, we are here to express ourselves to our truest nature in a happy, freedom, peaceful state, just experiencing that which we choose to.
That's when we have the unity between the two.
Just quickly, the fire, the air, the water, and the earth would be the mind, the body, the spirit, and emotions.
So the gratitude and abstinence part of the virtues, these both equal to 1, 0 with the void and 5. So we take it back to the virtues each time, Josh and I, because this is how we bring balance to the being. And where we have been used to a sinful nature, where the ego takes over, and we have programs set from the matrix. When we have, or when we show the gratitude and abstinence, we can then truly step back and build our temple, because if you have gratitude for all, you're merging the 1 and the 5 to become the 6, become one with the 6 in that unity that we just showed on the last picture. And the abstinence, when we take away, so for those of you that have fasted, for instance, when we abstain from the food, when you eat that first piece of food after that water fast, can you remember how you felt? It's like a true gift. It's like absolute joy.
True gratitude for the experience of consumption or eating food.
And these just, they hold highly up amongst the virtues, because these are the ones that we should be practicing and putting into our daily lives to achieve that.
Unconscious consumption of food is eating from ego, but a present state of consciousness consuming food allows the gratitude and the respect for what's actually being experienced at that particular time, which is you tasting, feeling satiated.
The sensations, isn't it? The all of the senses.
Sensation, and this is exactly what we are here to do. As the void, devoid of all form, aware that there was no form, the formless one had one wish. This was to experience, and you are this in an experience, experiencing. So gratitude for all of this.
So when we speak of things like
snails,
right, the drawing, but so we look at the spiral, and most beings see an outward spiral. So a lot of things are projected outwardly, but not many beings tend to focus within, because they don't like what they see. Basically, we spoke of shadow work before, but heading back inwards, it is a journey. It's not a straight line, and we don't go from A to Z straight away. We have to go through these motions. So those baby steps are super important on this journey, because of how much you can fall back and crash. So we don't want to take that huge step forwards and run before we can walk as such. I know Josh often speaks of the turtle and the hare story. It's really important to find your way back home in a gradual, slow way, so then you won't fall back so hard. I want to show you one more. Did you want to?
Yeah, I'll just say that the turtle is a representation of you bringing yourself to presence before taking any action. And the hare or the rabbit is a representation of the mind itself running before it knows or has sensed anything to do in its proper way. So if we allow ourselves just to slow down, instead of a reactive nature, we become responsive to that which is the situation presented in this particular moment, as all moments are very different, even though the ego or mind can perceive them to be the very same as yesterday. This is the psychological drama of the psyche creating the Groundhog Day by the perceiver via the perception of the perceiver. And this, if we are aware of how all light travels, the sine wave, it's in a spiral. If you observe the delicacy and the subtle nature of water, you will see that it travels in a spiral. Everything in creation travels in such a way through the divine ratio, the Fibonacci sequence, or the golden ratio, you could say. If you have not studied the golden ratio, I suggest spending some time looking into the divine creation, and you will find some magic there.
True magic. So when we take that divine journey within, we come back to our die state. I wanted to just show you the universe card. It's number 21. So the 21 years old in the UK is when you officially become an adult and you are free.
Add your L in physical.
And what they give as a gift in the UK here is a key. So the key to the universe, when you go within, uni backwards, as we spoke of before, is in you. So all that you have ever sought, all that you ever need to know, all of the truth is here. So our key to set us free, the keys to the universe is in you. You are it. And the moment you rise up and realize is when you become free.
The lock and key. The L avoid seeing balance, balance with the E for by your choices. Is it all about your choices you make towards the righteous or towards, let's say, the sins or virtues? And expressing yourself with an open awareness, with great observation, you will absolutely see that it is your actions which create your reality. You further yourself to which your goal is, or you take yourself a few steps back and experience a form of suffering through the lack of, let's say, diligence through your application of truth. Life is yours. You make and create that which you will. Is your will to the divine and the truth, or is your will to the desire?
So the next slide I wanted to share is so I'll move on to the 5 and the 6 and how they merge. So here, as we merge the 5 and 6, we have the circle and the square, the rose and the cross, and we have to help our being to balance so that we can rise up. All of these are saying exactly the same thing. Merge with the unity and become one. And this is when our energy is balanced through the chakra systems. So here I've made a small diagram of what it means to be merged. So if we look at the 5 to start with, we have the AL and the EL. This side here is our masculine energies that we spoke of just now, and so the air and the fire. And then we have our feminine energies here, the water and the earth. And this creates life or perfection. So no matter what anyone believes about themselves, you are perfect. And we have just, some of us have lost the way or our way, and we need to head back to balance, which is where we have our divine love. So we have the divine will here and divine love, and together, hand in hand, they create that L even, so the master of the temple. And like Josh has said in his other videos, if we turn the K on its side, we have the feminine balanced exactly in the middle of that masculine. So the words that come out of that aspect of divine love and will, the first one, which I found really interesting, was light. And level, that we always say about when we take the center of the torus. So just quickly show you the center balance here. We have the level, the X in the center, which creates that 144,000, which is the light of the crown chakra when it explodes there. So
you could say it was nirvana. Definition of nirvana is to be blown out. And many will experience, if they seek the truth in application, that they are not actually of this world in any way, shape or form. The world is of them.
So the words that
But how fantastic.
yeah.
If you appreciate the nature of consciousness, and you can just see that how everything itself is so perfect.
So when we speak of the divine will merging with that divine love, we see those numbers again that are very apparent, strong, powerful words, that when we speak these words, this is how we manifest. And this is coming back to the mantra words that we spoke of at the very start. When we speak, like abrahadabra is I will create as I speak. So this is pure magic that we're dealing with here on a whole new level. And when we look at 3, this is what we have been through with the triangle, the Fibonacci golden ratio triangle, and all of these numbers that manifest and the letters that come with them, they are just truly magic. And then if we ask ourselves why, it just is. It's just divine how it all unfolds and manifests.
It takes a great temple builder, a great journeyman, to be able to experience that which is necessary for them to see. And this is why the nature of gurus has been so important in the past, because for someone to see the way, they need someone to lead the way. But we are here in this age now where each and every one of you are your own guru, where you create the necessary experiences or seeings to elevate yourself beyond that which you previously believed that you were, to a state of cosmic intelligence.
So I just want to go through the sequence a little bit with you guys. So when we look at, sorry guys, it's really hot in here, so I'm
We've closed ourselves with the window and door. It's a very small room, and as there is noise outside.
So we have the die state here, and then if we look how this manifests and unfolds, in nature we never go in one straight line, so we head out this way from the die state, and this creates our 1 and 1. So from here,
I'll just write one word down.
Yeah.
Carry on, sorry.
So from the 1 and 1, we gain the 2. So this is our dualistic realm. And from this, how we create the balanced state, we come to the Z wave, or the 9.
Or the scalar wave, or the longitudinal wave.
Which then creates our...
Good triangle, man.
So the triangle here, and this is then the 3, so the Holy Trinity. And this is how we then create that magic. So the next one, this is number 5. So this is the only one that comes in at its exact number. So if we count 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 5 is exactly where it should be on the scale, right there as our star. So this is now creation. So we are now starting to create. So we have the 5-pointed star that we've shown you on the pictures, and they are 3 of those. Which is
you could say, the magic star. If you see it upside down, possibly in some occult ritualistic images, that it has been frowned upon, but it is actually the correct way.
And this is life and perfection. So this is when we are now the microcosm joining with the macrocosm. So after the 5 comes the 8, and this is our climate change. If I show you quickly the picture of this one, is how we then climb the 8. And
because
this is
it's innate, and you must regulate this to reciprocate.
The Kundalini rising, the energies of the Kundalini. And remember, we spoke of the left being the Ida, Pingala, and the Sushumna that is rising at the center. These are the nadis, the life force travels through, 72,000 of them. for creation, for life. And this is just another aspect of how we work with the Fibonacci sequence. And then when we get into the double figures, they come back to even more magic. So the 13 is the die state, but we come back to the 4.
Okay. So also 13 itself is the absolute balance, it's the middle, it is number 13 is the M. And as Michelle was talking, I wrote the word disk, which would be the accretion disk or the inertia plane, is the die sine wave imbalance, which creates light and life.
So if we look at these drawings here, the Fibonacci sequence itself, so we have the, if you hold it up a tiny, because I need the bottom bit just a sec. So we've got the 1, 1, 2, 3, can you see, if you can see there, 5, 8, and then where the 13 hits, it goes back to 4, and then 3 would be the 21, and so on. So instead of the double figures, we're condensing them back to the singular figures, which is the positive side of the torus. And then we have the negative side that continues. So if you work them out, instead of being double figures and work them out into the single, they absolutely reciprocate, which then if you put them into doubles and you put them half a side each, so one side positive and one negative, it creates this full cycle of energy, and you join up the dots, and this then becomes the sine wave again.
Can you imagine that the nature of consciousness itself has expressed this so dynamically for the illusory concept of one to experience physicality and fall into that? This is so incredible. If one is able to perceive and receive this level of information, you have created this within inside yourself. There is nothing more magic than this. I was just wondering at this particular time, has anyone any questions regarding any of this? If you have, please put your hand up. If you don't, we shall continue. All of these experiences within inside the physical, when you reach a certain level, which would be the merging of the 5 and 6, creating the balance temples, or we could say the L evening to become the L. There is a space that can only take you so far, and that is physically, because the nature of existence is non-physical. So within the mysticism and ancient science, they call this the abyss. And for one to experience the Godhead, one must jump into the abyss, losing the fear of death, as death is only held as a concept within inside the ego as something which is physical. But as I'm sure most are aware here, that the nature of physicality is an absolute impossibility. The chicken and the egg, which came first? Neither. They were both dreamt inside the one, which is pure awareness or consciousness. Yes, Sister Helen, I will get Michelle to explain that when she comes back. And I think we had a hand up here. Sister Lisa, would you like to open your microphone?
Hi.
Good day, sister.
How are you?
Very, very well. How are
See
you?
you. Okay. As I have been diving further and further into non-duality and completely absorbing and embracing the fact that there's no free will, and I don't exist. None of this exists. And so when I'm listening to a talk like yours, or listening to, you know, Shunyamurti or Eckhart Tolle or different people, and they're talking to me about, or everyone, about topics like this. And I know that even right now, my being isn't choosing these words, and I'm not even choosing this path for myself. It's all it's all already chosen, it's all already done. So are teachings like this really just to tell us about the movie that we're in? Or
I would say, you know, the choice doesn't happen with the ego in any way, shape, or form. You get to choose, but once conscious and present, but the experience that is experienced is out of the chooser's hands. The experience that is seen or observed is relative to the action that you take, or those
but so
actions
wait,
are related. Sorry, please.
What do we get to choose then?
You get to choose the actions that you take when one is conscious and present in a non-reactive state. But the experience that is seen, or the experience that is involved with your presence, happens as a synchronized relationship to that which you are. And in a sense of that which you are is the resonance that you hold at that particular time. So the field generates the experience thus experienced. So when you're having a bad day and you're vibrating at let's say a lower frequency, you're identifying, then the experience that is had is usually something to add on to the negativity that you have previously experienced in those moments. Actually, when one is angry due to the nature of being impatient in a traffic jam, the traffic seems to build up and the suffering is then felt. If one is in a relationship and they are having a form of negativity perceived to the other, and they engage in argumentative behavior, this then increases the level of suffering felt with each other, and then the experience is perceived as worse and more difficult
But
to bring us up to balance.
okay, so I'm slightly confused then, because it's my understanding that if I'm not choosing this path that I'm on, I'm not even choosing to be in this conversation with you. It's already done. Everything is already completed, right? Like the entire universe is already in this moment. It's the movie is written, right? And so and we keep talking about energy and the vibration that you hold, and if I'm not even here, this whole thing is a dream. Where in that process do I have the clear choice? Because it's not in the ego, that those thoughts, I'm not even choosing my own thoughts. They're just in this energetic field that sort of passes by and things pop in my head. So where does like the
thoughts appear, but your choice is to identify with them or as them with your attention. Then the attention comes into the emotional body and that's experienced. Then you have the ability to understand if you're observant, that the choices that you made to that created this action. This is karma. So these experiences can continue to happen with an unconscious way without any will attached to it. And this is where you have no ability or no free will attached to your experience. So it's only when you can become conscious as the turtle and present to respond to reality in a way with your own conscious choices, will you experience anything other than the cycles of the psyche.
So we can set, like, so in saying that, we can I mean, in this non-reality, in this in this fake movie that I'm in, I can, even though all of these things are all planned out, it's all done, I still have choices in how to think, feel about what's happening, or I have the ability to.
It's perception relative. So you can think and feel something about anything different to somebody else. The way you perceive, the way you perceive unconsciously is created by your environment, what you see or what you put into the mind, you could say, or the unconscious, which then creates the unconscious one to act according. But it's only when you become conscious and you choose, or you're very aware of the nature of, let's say, television, how it repeats cycles or it shows you negative behavior, then that goes into your unconscious way. Then the actions of the ego mind will be in a way pestering you or relaying this reality to say, this is what it has seen and this is what it would do. So then you have the choice at that moment to identify with the ego, and this would be unconsciously, or consciously present in control of that very moment, making the choices for the right choice. So you have a will and you are love, but your true will be obscured by the nature of the mind.
Right.
So you can make the choices that lead you to the divine will of yourself by doing that which is right. And if you do not make those choices because you surrender your truth to something other than yourself, maybe a friend, maybe the environment, maybe to anyone, then a thought form will arise as your conscience in consciousness. Then that conscience is a voice in your head. Then that is telling you, I shouldn't have done this. I should have done that. Then the commentary is happening, and then you're separate in duality, trying to figure out that which is true. Suffering.
So are these like energetic laws of this sort of movie that we're in? Because I'm thinking, if this is all one and there is no right or wrong, no good or bad, it's just what you're feeding the brain can affect choices that the body makes, which then changes the energetic field that you are in.
Yeah. Because of your perceptions, you hold in mind a certain belief, because only belief is physical. The nature of non-physicality is a knowing. So what you hold within inside this psyche, you could say, the ego or the mind, to do with, let's say, dietary choices for one. There is a food that was created for man. Then there are concepts within that people say they should be consuming for their health. Now, if you have a consumption of a certain type of lifestyle with these bad foods, once recognized as being bad foods, then you have this, the ego fixated on this, that anyone else that isn't doing that which you are doing is wrong. Good and bad are relative. So of course there are good things and there are bad things, but to be that which is the self, there is no good and bad. So to a level of mastery, you must understand the good and the bad in the world, or in the physical experience, to then find your way back to that which is non-conceptualized, non-judgmental, pure presence, experiencing within the self. So, of course, these concepts must be dropped to be the self, as cosmic awareness, but you are never not the self. You are identifying as a person sometimes and suffering within inside the experience. But that which you called a movie is the very wish of each and every one of us to experience something and have an ability to make the choices to find ourselves separate and together once again.
Okay. See, the thing I'm getting confused on what you're saying, because I love learning and I love understanding the concepts that you're teaching and about the world and documentaries, truth, this and that. But isn't that just, are these concepts just feeding the ego, the mind that I'm trying to transcend? Or are these concepts and things important to help me to change and my energetic field so that I can get to that?
It's kind of both. This is what the 5 and the 6
It's a really
is.
good question there, yeah.
Because the 5 is mastering the physical nature to then be able to connect to the truest state and merging those two energies. So the questions that you're having right now is bearing on the abyss. Because like I said, you can never not be the self.
Right.
So I'm presuming at certain times in your experience at this stage, there will be questions arising that you have to do something to be the self. I need to do something more. I need to let go of these concepts. I need to do this. I need to do that.
I'm at that depressing stage, Josh and Michelle, where it's like, what is the point? Because there's nothing I can do. There's nothing I can learn. There's nothing I can't eat my way to it. I can't.
You are it. The one
Yes.
which was eating was the one which wished for the experience. So you are in that experience, but the concepts you hold in the search for something, that which you already are causing your suffering.
Yeah.
You're already it.
Yeah.
You've already taken that journey of that spiral inward, and you've cleaned out all of what you need to clean out. This is what happens to you when you get to that stage. It's like, well, actually, I don't need to know any of this, don't need to be any of this. It's just, everything just is. So it's a journey that you initially take, and then it slowly unfolds and you become back to that whole state, that center, that balanced state, and then you become it.
Because there is no purpose.
Right.
Apart from enjoying experience. The phenomenal reality of manifestation is all within inside of you. There's nothing going on.
I know. And it's I am staring it down, and it's this sort of terrifying, what is the point of this? Why am I why and plus
sit in your bed tonight, and in your wakeful sleepiness, sense that there is nothing. And this is why dimethyltryptamine or ayahuasca helps people recognize this, but you can do this yourself without any interactions of chemicals. And then realize that I'm aware that there is nothing. So if I am the one that is aware there is nothing, if all there was nothing, the wish would be to experience all that you can experience. This has been evolving within inside consciousness for so long in perceived time. But you're here, you're now. You can get up, you can pick something up and sense it. You can listen to the voices that emote. You can sense emotion. Emotion cannot control you if you recognize that which it is. You gain mastery over the emotional body. You don't have to think about it, emotions can arise and they can
See,
go.
and that I don't have a choice in that, right? I don't have a choice in
It's attention based.
my own mastery. Wait, say that again.
It's kind of, if you see it as attention based, is the best way I can describe it. You see, reactivity, there's no choice. So in the dark, you're walking through the house and you see a rope. Well, hang on. You see a shape on the floor and it was a rope, but you perceived it to be a snake. And that snake made you go into fight or flight. And it was only until you turned the light on that you realized it was a rope. This is reactivity. You have no choice but to be attentive to the present moment. There is a choice in a non-reactive state to respond to life instead of react, thus not being emotional.
But so who is, if there is no me and there is no self, there is no observer, who is it? The God self that is choosing to be aware in that moment?
Your
That, or
consciousness, when you sleep, remember the dream. And when you look in the dream for your body, you see a body. Remember that. But there was no body, but it was experienced and seen. This is you. You look down.
When it's egoless, this is when we can have that control. Because when Josh mentioned the DMT and the ayahuasca, all of these things alter our state. So they take away that ego. So there is no attachment to anything. So all of that strips away. And this is the same as the dream state. You can be or do anything in the dream, and it is perceived as a reality until you actually rise up and come to and think that was all a dream.
And when you fall asleep at night, the only way you fall asleep is by taking your attention off physicality. You've got focused attention for this experience, but every night you return to yourself. Every night. And how you do so is by taking attention away. And it's only then where you fall asleep. And this is why Z is sleep. Because you're in Z. So you can never die. You can only but dream. You dream and experience. Can you remember this? Can you remember reunion? Because one has lost their way. Searching for something which they already are. In this wonderful experience, you dreamt the body. You believed you were the body. You heard the mind.
yeah.
And they got all your attention.
So in listening to a talk like this, it's good for me, or even though I can't learn or do anything to transcend, it still helps.
Your 5 and 6. This is what you're doing. You're understanding your physical nature and you're merging it with your spiritual nature to create the next level of experience. A form that is absolutely the spirit, that doesn't believe it is the body, that can do and create that which it wishes at will. This is your next.
So learning this is good so that I understand the rules of the movie, and I can get this realm so that when I hopefully, and I don't have a choice in it, but if I get to that next stage or enlightenment and I realize the one that it helps me piece it together better.
It helps you remember who you are and what you are, who, what, where, why, when. You're now, you are consciousness. You're expressing yourself to expand. And in your expansion through the forms that were necessary for you to develop that which you are now ready to move on and evolve. And for your evolution, you must transcend the ego. This is what this is about.
Okay. And do I have a choice in that? It is through conscious
presence, conscious presence.
presence.
Yeah.
So in every moment, it's just like you've said plenty of times before, Michelle, that it's always living here, that life is always in this moment. There's no linear, that you're always right here, right in this moment.
These virtual reality games, they have hand grips that you can sense what you pick up in the games. They've got eye contact lenses. So these gamers so flabbergasted by being able to experience virtual reality that they've lost the virtuous reality.
Yeah.
This is the amazing magic. This is the light of life. This is everything we've wished for and more. There's no death. There's no fear.
Why does this stage in the game feel so I don't know. I think it's because my ego had kind of attached to the idea of that I was doing and I was being and I was cleaning my temple and I was this and that.
You had to
that
do
was
that.
part of your inner journey to the one.
Because that was what was necessary for you to be able to recognize this.
And there are other people that don't have to do that, right? That can just, Eckhart Tolle, who wakes up and he's enlightened.
But he hasn't necessarily experienced the fullest. So
yeah,
to recognize, life as a conscious, present experience without mastery is different than mastery over all the elements.
Yes.
Because you can play a game and you can be good at the game, or you can die all the time in the game, but you still know you're playing the game.
This is samsara. So death and rebirth. Constant reciprocation of energy, death and rebirth. But when you truly master the temple, know thyself, create magic, this is when you know that you can level up.
And interacting with the world, maybe at your particular stage, might seem pointless. When you first elevate at a certain stage, you wish to tell everyone, because you feel like everyone needs to know that which you know, because you know better, which is ego-based or spiritual arrogance. Sometimes spiritual people wear a certain type of clothes because they feel more spiritual. This is spiritual arrogance. Sometimes people shave their hair or keep their hair, but it's all concepts and none of that matters. You just identify or have an identity crisis that causes you certain perceptions which essentially lead to suffering because of what others may perceive of you or what you may perceive of yourself. But this is where concepts need to die. You can enjoy concepts, but as long as you know that which they do to you will bring you to a state of freedom, because there is no need to hold on to these ideas, because it is I-E-E-A, conscious form within the E and A. It's just about form.
So if there is, non-duality, as we are all one, there's no separation, but explain to me then the wheel of samsara, what the soul my energy is what is coming.
Energy is a concept. In your dream, are there others or are they a part of you?
Well, there seems like there are others there, but
Are they there?
maybe it's because I'm not evolved and they're supposed to seem like me. What are you saying?
So if you were a creator and there was no other form to interact with, would it be a good creation?
No,
So
I
within
would.
your dream, you've created other forms to experience life with you. But it
Yeah.
comes, but its source is in you.
So I'm creating what I need or what I want to
Everything,
experience.
everything you see from inside. There is nothing external. So the ones which are in your dream, how could they be separate from you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that just clicked.
Sleep awareness, dream awareness is such a beautiful thing to help you expand. Just correlate it. This is why I said at the start. You dream, you see others, you chat. The other day, I experienced a dream where I turned the air conditioner on inside an electric car, and yeah, I felt the cold. This is a dream.
Yeah.
Nothing can separate you apart from your illusions, beliefs, concepts, ideas.
I guess what is really unsettling, I mean, a lot of this stage is like my ego is obviously completely freaking out. And there are moments where it's so exciting because of the freedom of it and what that actually means. And then there's other times where it's terrifying because it's, well, the fact that I can't do anything to make to be enlightened or to, it just
You're
is
enlightened until you have
already.
the idea that you can't do or you should do, because you're the one experiencing. It is only who you identify with as an idea that you've created. Let's say the residual self-image of yourself. You walk into a mirror and you see the reflection, but there is nothing to reflect. There's just an image projected from internal and a mirror, and you see yourself. So you see the person. You are not that. That is in you. You recognize that. That is the freedom to then go and experience all of this in its magnificence without any fear, because this is your dream. And anything that you need to overcome will be presented to you. So why need to overcome something when you are already that which is? And understand that in your freedom you resonate, and the experiences of the one are consistent and persistent in an absolute organic flow of synchronicity in a protective manner. Jesus, not Jesus Christ, will protect you, or you will be protected by God. This is it. Is you are that. So why would you create a scenario of negativity when you are free?
Did you and Michelle go through this stage where you were, it's so weird to, like, I don't feel depressed, but I just, like I said, I have moments where this is like, oh my gosh, the idea of the amount of freedom that this is, what this truly means. And then there's other times where I don't know, depressing, I don't know if that's quite the word that I want to use, but it's uh, terrifying. I don't know. I mean, facing what that actually means, that there was never a me, that this isn't even, yeah, I don't know. And if you did face it, what did you do?
You just begin to receive. So everything that's happening to you, you just continue to open up and elevate yourself. So these questions that are arising are coming from one which is unsure about its true nature. But it's only because you're identifying as the person. And the very feelings that you feel as depression are the very thing which you need to overcome. Because it's that thing which is unsure about something, or something needs to do something, or it doesn't know what to do, but you are already that which doesn't need to do anything.
But if we remember that depression comes from the past, anxieties come from the future, not knowing what's going to happen in the future. Depression is usually revisiting, reliving something that's already happened.
Wishing to change the past.
If we stay in that center of balance again, that we bring it back to that every time, we can never feel those or experience those feelings, as we already are that which we seek.
Attention off of the one which seeks to change the past, or has an idea to control the future.
I guess it's not even so much wanting to change my past as realizing, like, it, sorry, my dog, is realizing that it never happened, or that I'm that I'm not even real. I'm just this.
This is as real as it gets. So it's real in a sense. But you are non-tangible in your true source. It's fantastic to know that the one which believed it could die could never die. Of fear elevates freedom, acceptance. Don't search for anything more. Start to enjoy everything that you have in the deepest nature, subtleties of all things. You're using a pen, you're writing. Do you write unconsciously, or do you see the very shapes and forms created, the color, the ink, the smell, the room, the family, the friends, the choices you can make to interact or to not, the silence, the noise? It's all your choice if you become present.
Yep.
A gift.
Say that again. I'm sorry, it cut out.
It's just the gift. Stop searching
Yeah.
for something. There's nothing you need to do. There is no teaching. There is no teacher. There is no student.
Yeah. Okay. And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to completely get off topic, but when I'm listening to these different talks here lately, when it's like my being just fully, completely, finally absorbed non-duality, and what that means, and what it means that there is no observer, and it just has hit me kind of hard. And now when I'm going to learn and I'm going to try to expand myself, or whatever, I'm listening to it and I'm thinking, okay, is this just information about the movie, because this is what transcended, evolved gurus and spiritual guides and whatever throughout the ages have taught us to help us on this path. I don't know. It just struck me of like, does it even matter learning this?
If you can remain as you were as a baby, then
Yeah.
the nature of the ego is an experience that's necessary for the evolution of consciousness. And that's what you are. So it's necessary. Everything that you experience is absolutely necessary. And the idea that it may not be necessary may be causing the illusion and separation itself. So that there will be causing you to feel suffering, depression, anxiety, fear.
But so is it me then that's going to sit here and say, okay, I just talked to Josh and that kind of made me feel better? Or is it God who is working through me, who's choosing that for me?
There's no such thing as God. There is an idea created. You are that. So everything that you experience when you are aware that you are experiencing it presently is creation and life inside of you, because you are the creator. You cannot experience externally. You cannot. You think that world is external from you. When you fell down the stairs in your dream and shook your leg and woke up from that dream, were the stairs real or not?
Yeah, no. So
As real
even
as
though
as real as it
all of
gets.
these, yeah. Yeah, and the baby analogy is always a good one. I do feel like when I am like that, the time slows down. It almost like feels like it's slow motion at times where, yeah, because it's just absorbing everything. And so there is no source other than,
You.
yeah.
You are the source. When I say you are the source of your creation, it's an absolute. It's the absolute. You are it. This is why the laughing Buddha concept exists, because sometimes when people really truly get this, they just laugh.
Yeah.
Because nothing matters. Nothing is matter. This is why within side of the illusory world, the physical nature has an expression of teachings that tell you that atoms are empty space. Magnetism is a field. Electricity, dielectricity, magnetism create life, light, plasma. But all of that is a concept for the one to experience.
So it literally is sort of like learning and and mastering a game, that we're learning the rules and the how it all works in the game, but that it's still learning all of it is important, but it's not necessary, because
But where you are at is recognizing that the journey has taken you to a point and the point is pointless.
Yeah.
To get to this state, you had to do what you needed to do. So this is symbolically the twin pillars. You build the temples up, and then you collapse them to ground zero.
Yeah.
And this is what's the hardest thing, to let go of everything that you thought you knew to be true.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's not true. It was concepts, and that concept brought you to a space of non-concept. Duality brought you to non-duality. Fear brought you to love.
Yeah. I
So
mean, it just is fascinating.
just the subtleties of experience. Look with delicacy. Intensive is so special. And then you're letting go, great things will happen for you.
And even that, so at this stage, even though that letting go is a concept, because there's no one to let go, that's still
go on. You just pick up the ideas that you believe that you
yeah.
had to let go of. Yeah.
Yeah.
You wake up and there's all this weight, but the weight was there because you picked it up.
Yeah. Yeah. My ego is still struggling with the that there's nothing to be done and that there's nothing I can do. And so I guess I just have to sit back and enjoy listening to talks like this and learning and continuing to do until hopefully it just happens.
Even the one that's judging at those times recognize that there's a space just slightly away from those judgments in attentive presence. It's a practice. But this is back to Michel's teaching, merging the physical with that to experience both in a splendid manner.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. I won't take up any more time because this is it's just so fascinating. And I
really good questions.
Very, very good. I'm glad that you were there to ask the questions because I'm sure it opened up so many people.
Oh, well, good. I'm glad that I'm on this ride with others, that's for sure. And I so appreciate the two of you. I love you both so much. So thank you very much. Much love to you both.
Have a beautiful day.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.
Love to you.
Coming to you, Brother Austin, in a second. Just let Michelle finish a few bits that she was about to finish.
Yeah, it's really hot here, so little X keeps wanting the fan on. Cool. So I just wanted to show you this picture one more time. Mr. Helen's just asked to show the numbers again. So all they are is the manifestation of. Yeah, that's fine.
I'll try and get it.
So we have the 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, and then when they go into double figures, they just squash down. So the 1 add 3 is 4, and then the 2 add 1 is 3, 4 add 3 is 7. So this is how they manifest. Positive side and the negative side of the torus. And if we merge them into one, we have, tiny bit closer, the positive side on one side and the negative side on the other. And they just manifest as energy. And if we see in the center here, it creates the 6-pointed star. And this also corresponds to the chromatic scale, which if you're familiar with music, this is a manifestation of the sounds which we can then take back to the words of mantra. And this is how the energy reciprocates. So
perpetual motion itself.
staying on that sort of vibe, when we spoke of the sine wave and how it all corresponds with energy, we have the words spiral, spine, spirit, and spin. These are all SPI numbers.
Sine wave of light in consciousness.
And these all, the SPI, sorry, I'm writing with my opposite hand, the SPI words are all equal to 44, which is then the 8. So we are looking at that energy reciprocating in that torus field again. So if we take the spine, for instance, which is our Jacob's ladder, which we're climbing.
Which is in a spiral manner.
Can we share the screen one more time?
Of course, of course.
I've got a small diagram that I wanted to share with you guys.
Which one is it, Mary?
The spine one just there. So I don't know how familiar any of you are with certain parts of the spine, but there are some images online that you can see the certain levels that we can climb. The Jacob's ladder, which is the H, again, the 8. So if we look at the bottom 5 chakras, there we've got the cervical spine, which is 7, the thoracic 12, the lumbar 5, sacrum 5, and the coccyx, which is 4. These are how many vertebrae we have in that section. So they equal to 33. This is the master number, or the divine child. So once we climb that ladder and we become enlightened, their 48 petals are all of the petals added up from the bottom 5 chakras. And then we have the 96 petals, which is double the power of the bottom 5. So the 48 times 2 is 96. And then the crown chakra is 1,000 times more powerful. So we add 48 to 96, which is 144. And then 1,000 times more powerful with energy. So we have the 144,000. So if we take it back to the spine, the lower 5 chakras, once we've reached enlightenment, or the third eye opens and activates, this is when we can see clear and we realize with our real eye what is happening here and the energy that we can create and the magic that we can create. So if we put letters to those numbers, we come up with the word gleed. Now, when we look at the adult, when we become an adult, so between the ages, they say, of 26 to 33, this is when our vertebrae at the bottom fuse. So the sacrum and the coccyx become 1 instead of 5 and 4. So this then becomes 26 vertebrae. And if we look up the word gleed, I'll read it out to you because it's quite another thing that we found that is a massive synchronization towards what we can achieve as human beings. So gleed is a glowing ember or coal or fire. So, you know, when the embers glow at the bottom of the fire. Now, if we look at the red shift or the root chakra, which is where we begin this journey, our survival chakra, the red chakra, this is like the burning of the fire. And when the fire starts to rise up, the kundalini, this is when we get that activation. So the ember days are quarterly periods of prayer, so gratitude, and fasting, abstinence. So what we spoke of earlier with gratitude and abstinence being the 1 and the 5, this is crucial to activate our energies that rise. So these are quarterly periods of prayer and fasting. They take place on a Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday, and they follow specific days of the calendar. So the first one would be St. Lucy's Day. The next one is the first Sunday in Lent in March, and then the Pentecost, and then the Holy Cross Day. And these are ceremonies that are held on Ember Saturdays following a Sunday. So they are full of, when beings are at that stage of enlightenment, they take this gratitude and this prayer, and these are called Ember Days. And this is what bleed is, and a part of activating that fire within so that we can rise up. So all of these synchronicities that are coming through from the spine, from our being, from the phi cycle,
Fire, which is spirit.
Everything that's actually happening within is without. So when we link all of these things back in and become balanced, that we were just speaking to Lisa about, and being present with everything we do, this comes very quickly and very naturally. Manifesting magic happens within an instant. Whatever you need or are on your journey will become very apparent. So this is what we're trying to help walk you through with you. It is trying to merge the 5 and the 6 once we've had that alpha merging with the energies of the ether. Then we can move on to that manifesting with the universe and the powers that it provides us with. When we showed you the picture of the 5 and the 6, these are just merging of energies, love,
The Godhead, the ceremony. If you see Sari is cerebral, Mon is the one, atonement at one mind. These are the very same thing, becoming single-sighted from the one eye.
the light
of the world, as the dollar bill states.
Mm-hmm.
The eye that sees but can never be seen.
So these pictures we're going to put up on our website as well if any of you need access to them. But they're just good reminders that, you know, everything is synchronized, everything is as within, so without, as above, so below. And if we free ourselves, we can truly unblock the energy systems.
The idea is that the world is external, as within, so without. The without world is not a world without you. And everything is internalized with the internal eyes of the internal seeing, which is eternal. I hope that this is being recognized. Sometimes it may be difficult to see without some occult gnosis, but when one begins to see this, it's a very beautiful expression of consciousness which leads you to the truth, the ultimate. Is there anything that you had to add to that? Yeah. Can I go with Brother Austin, please? Reveal yourself.
My brother.
Good day, brother. You are muted, my friend.
Good to see you guys. Good to be here. Thank you for sharing everything today, Michelle and Josh. Yeah, it's I really appreciate your gnosis. It's helped me to make sense of what's happening. Like, I feel like in my reality, I opened up to a spiritual side of my being, the EL. And I guess a quick question is, the EL, would you say that's the subconscious mind, or like your inner child? Could you relate it to that?
It's kind of the etherical mind, that which is unconscious and subconscious, but is only recognized when one is conscious.
Okay. Etherical mind
Yeah,
is a better way to describe it.
This starts to manifest when one is becoming aware and conscious. It starts to build, starts to become active. It's more of a creative mind, but creativity only comes from lack of thought in more expression. So when you're painting, playing music, your attention is off of that which does into this which bees, which is ether.
The being and the doing.
So we were talking about feelings and depression that come up, and a lot of advice I hear is to, just sit with them because they'll eventually pass, and to actually go into the feeling. Would you recommend that advice?
I feel that these are obviously illusions that are held and given attention to as undealt with karma. So what we need to do is recognize the source, the experience, contemplate and recognize that it is not here and now. It is only found in a thought. Can I change that experience? No. If I wish to change that experience, I'm trying to change the past. I've lost my presence. So in recognizing that, the only thing that we can do is actually come to terms with it by acceptance. So we accept that which has happened and recognize that we cannot do anything about other experiences that have previously happened. And in doing so, time, maybe after time, it will become freer and freer until it doesn't exist.
It's sometimes based around a fear concept of say a program that's been introduced to you at some point along your journey. For instance, today, before I had a huge fear of spiders, and yet today I was led with little X and a spider came up onto my arm. And I looked and I had zero fear for him at all. I just calmly got up, walked out and put him outside. And no feeling came across. There was no thought, there was no emotion attached to that moment, because the fear that I had previous was programmed through what I had heard, seen on TV, had been told, had been around. So it was part of my experience. And now that that's overcome, there is no attachment to that feeling. It just is. So I just done what was needed to do in that moment, and there was nothing there. So when we speak of these moments where we become disengaged from the balanced state, this is where things happen.
It's the demon, you see. The demon of the idea, the ghost that is the host within inside of you as the idea. These concepts that people hold, such as spider fears, they are only an idea. This is it. What's actually happening is nothing. And if something crawls on you, such as a spider, does the fear help you? Or does it put you into a state of frightening fight, flight, reactivity? That very emotion that's created in that moment responds within the field. If one reacts in fear, they will bring fearful situations to them, possibly a bite. And then this is how the world works.
Yeah, thank you. It's becoming like a game when this stuff comes up, when the fears come up, and I don't have the resistance towards them as much as I used to, and I know it's going to pass, so I just see it, and I change my perception, and it usually goes away. Yeah, and I notice too, if I go into it, what's that?
So this mastering these illusory emotional bodies.
Yeah, and I'm getting really in tune with my body, and I notice how it creates a release and a relaxation in my body too. And just like the subtle tensions we have and how they show up. And as I get my body in more in alignment, and see, I'm like trying to conquer my mind just through my body. And I realize you have to go through the mind too. Like I can't do it with just my body. And so
It's a
as I
separate
expand my
entity.
awareness, what's that?
It's like it's a separate entity. You know, we believe the mind is inside the body, but the mind is actually something which arises inside your field of consciousness as a tool.
So yeah, I've discovered, you know, as you've said many times, you need to contemplate these things in order to transcend the mind. And when I do that, then I'll notice my posture will improve, or these tensions in my body will improve as I expand beyond the rigidity in my mind. It seems to work in my body because I can only get so far in my body without conquering the mind aspects of it.
Yeah. That's the limitations, you know, the limitations. The word is our imitations. The circle, the 12 of the AL is in imitating. And if we do that which we have seen, we are reactive and ego-based. But only in our conscious presence do we connect to the very field which has the sacred knowledge of all things. And you are handed that which is necessary at that particular time for the body to create or incarnate a physicality of an expression, like an invention, for example. The word invention is to invent, or outvent from within. This is the connection that, say, Nikola Tesla had. You know, he would dream these ideas, draw them in sand or in the dirt, and then create them. This is handed to you if it's your true expression. And you'll notice that it's just in these moments of non-thought that your finest revelations come. That's why Eve is in Revelation, because these only are found in balance. Are Eve now not ion?
I also wanted to ask you, so to dovetail off of what you're talking about with mantras, what do you have to say about affirmations? Right now, I feel like I've burnt down a lot of concepts in my mind, and I've had almost a repulsion to putting any kind of labels on myself. But now I feel the need to bring in certain aspects. So to do some spell casting, let's say, and make like 30 affirmations, and just really, because repetition is the main way we program our subconscious mind. So I'm wondering if you have anything to say about creating affirmations and creating changes with those. They work.
They work. You write a vision board up with your true will, and you'll look back in a month or two and everything will be fulfilled. And the way that you're expressing it, you know, unconscious, subconscious relates to conscious via D1, that is unconscious. Being conscious and present is a recognition that your attention is so powerful, but it's very hard for the one which is unconscious to keep its attention consciously on something for more than 5 seconds. So the affirmations are an incredible way for the unconscious to see the subconscious to manifest in the conscious. Because what is being seen without consciousness or unconsciously is rewriting that conscious behavior, which is unconscious. So the unconscious one creates via the subconscious, unconscious. So program that. And this is what Disney was very good at.
Yeah, the media is really good at programming us to accept poverty and mediocrity and all that stuff. And
it's the ideas of
yeah, I think
society.
I wanted to share something that's really helped me recently. This idea that to really define words that you don't understand, because if you can't create a picture and don't really know, if you only have a vague understanding of a definition, then you're not going to really be able to pull up a picture or really conceptualize what we're talking about. And I realized I was doing that with even like in a little affirmation, I am wealthy. Well, what does wealthy actually mean? What does wealth mean? And I looked it up, and it just, financial assets, material possessions, like even just defining that really helped the affirmation gain a lot of power and have me to connect my right brain with my left brain, I guess, and put some power into it. So I think with your gnosis too, what I'm trying to do is really understand these definitions of everything that is being brought up, the regular definitions, and then the etymology definitions. Well, yeah, let's see what real wealth is.
There you go.
Yeah.
The both the hemispheres with the E and A are in your
The
physical
left and the
vibration.
right brain, the EA, the reciprocating torus, the L, which is God, and the physical, and the 8.
Vibration. Yeah. So within your physical, merge your L with the E and A for both of the hemispheres to be intertwined with the 12 to make the 13 the balance.
Nice. Yeah, that's been helpful. And the other thing, I've heard you talk about quintessence before. Can you just define what quintessence is and how that relates to the 5 elements?
Q-U-N-T. Balance is Q. Phoenician Qs were 0 and 1. So this is feminine, masculine. Balance, U in physical. Essence. And your essence is that which you are. So if you are that which is balanced within your physical between this masculine and feminine, you have become the Star of David. You have sealed the Solomon.
Can I just, Brother, can I just show you this one more time? Because the quintessence is the 5th element, which is the point of the star, life and perfection. You are the quintessence, the perfection. And this is when we merge the AL with the EL and all of those, areas of nature come together to create this divine life, creation. This is creation, the quintessence, the 5th element.
Amen.
Perfection. And when we have the air, fire, water, and ether, the masculine and the feminine, that divine connection where they merge and form that sacred bond.
Can you imagine knowing that you just walk around merged with the self, that everything is perfect? There is no greater feeling or joy than knowing everything is perfect.
So if we think of quintessence as perfection, pure divine perfection at its die state, pure state.
And that's why the die is so important. To learn to die is to be liberated from the perceived death, form and consciousness.
And if I can just show you, I've shown you a few times on the Q&A. So the card 13 is the death card, and die is equal to 13.
9 and 4.
And 4 is 13. And we have
That's why the
death.
So the feminine and form alpha. This is why you are a man. I am a man. If you are a woman or female, We are all this wonderful alpha wave in search of the divine feminine by being I.
And just on that last little note of when we brought up the tarot cards, there are 56 minor tarot cards, the 5 and the 6. And there are 22 major ones. So the 22 is a representation of the feminine. And then we have the 5 and the 6, the 56, that are the minor arcanas. And these two that merge create, again, that true perfection. So all of these synchronicities that we can bring into our reality, ReveLatION, is very synchronistic of energy, frequency, and vibration.
Michelle, do you use the tarot card for divination at all, or the deck for divination?
Yeah, so I use them in a different way than maybe the average tarot reader would, because I like to make my own way through them with pictures and symbols, and I like to synchronize them into my own truth, because since I've been using numerology and Josh has brought the etymology to our world, bringing the tarot into it has had a major impact on, again, another side of synchronicities from maybe ancient teachings that we are unraveling as we learn.
You could really appreciate that the ancients, or even the modern day occultists, you know, with the knowledge of the gnosis that they had, they're essentially unraveling consciousness itself. The expression of consciousness is being unraveled to a state of recognition of its divinity.
And I do feel like if you read a lot of things on the internet, you can be, again, persuaded into someone else's way of thinking or perception. So I like to use them as just a tool to help to synchronize lots of different things from my truth and from what Josh and I have found as we take this journey to go back inward with that spiral sequence again. So it's just a fun way to then look at different pictures and images, numbers, words.
The code of God, isn't it? It's like revealing that which brings you on the journey, or brings the ego on the journey. Some great, wow, this is really deep type of revelations. And then, as we were speaking of earlier, you come to this point where you can't go any further physically, and the ideas have to be let go. And once they let go, all of this is just a very enjoyable experience.
I'm climbing the ladder. I'm almost there. It's I can relate to what Lisa was talking about before. Definitely, I feel like I've tapped into the etherical mind, and it's just my ego is really holding on tight, but it's losing more and more power every day. And it's more like integrating it, right? Integrating it and becoming friends with it, and because it's going to be there. And I think I've just been trying to get rid of it, and like trying not to use my mind at all in this persona, but you have to integrate that EL with the AL. And yeah, so it is a fun process, and it's not always fun, but again, you got to laugh because it is the cosmic joke like you talked about. And I almost think I was almost a little upset that the creator, me, has like a deranged sense of humor with some of the stuff that's been happening. Like the creator definitely has a sense of humor. Sometimes it's a little deranged too, and weird.
That's why you need to rearrange the deranged.
But I think that's just the fun of it. The teachings are, when you look back on them, you actually do laugh. Even if it was painful to go through at the time,
the idea is, you know, that something held so much power to your person, you know, You take life so seriously, or you take that concept so seriously, and you realize that that was just the idea of your perception.
You're gonna get smacked if you do that.
Yeah.
And a loving slap by the universe.
This is why it's so important to realize you're it. You have never not been that which you seek. It's just the ideas that you are not that, which make you not that. Just remember that scene in the Matrix when Neo went to the lady.
The oracle.
Thank you.
The oracle.
And she told him that he wasn't the one because of his ideas.
He was not ready. He wasn't ready to hear that he was, because his beliefs were there that he wasn't that. So she told him what he wanted to hear, because at that point in time, he was not ready to receive that information. So this is the journey back to self that we've been speaking about as well, the inward journey, that knowing thyself is the most important thing that you can be, because you are that.
I not know the person. I know what I like.
Mhm.
The simplicity of experience. Enjoy it, my brother.
I've enjoyed this conversation, and I'm excited for the upcoming Fle-x the Strength. I'm excited to put on some muscle.
Yes.
So I'm looking forward to that next month. And yeah, just sending love to the X family and
Thank
to you
you.
both.
Thanks.
Appreciate what you do.
We love you, brother. Thank you so much. You have a beautiful day.
Love to you.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
iPhone. Please unmute your iPhone.
Hi guys.
Hello. How are you both?
Good, thank you. I'm Charmaine. I didn't put iPhone. And this is Scott, my husband. We just wanted to jump on and because it's our first time joining a live call.
Based on
And-
time zone differences. So we've been following you, and I just so much infinite love and gratitude for, I learned of you, Josh, and your beautiful partner through Charlie Freak some time ago. And the path has been so blessed and full of bliss with the knowledge and wisdom and love that you guys have been imparting. And from my heart, I truly, truly thank you, because I've been a seeker. Well, we're always seekers, and I continue to seek, and it's all a marvelous mystery. But what you've shared is beyond words. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, we've been with you both since the beginning of the journey. And so we've probably been frugivores mostly now for about 2 years, I guess. It's been 2 years already. And yeah, it's really, I think changed our life in a big way. So we want to, again, just infinite gratitude for that. And also, you had a call with my mom, which was so beautiful. And I just want to tell you that she's doing great. She's juicing oranges every day, and she now has a colonoscopy bag, but everything's kind of moving better, you know, in terms of bowels and getting rid of stuff that she had obviously had to hold on to for a long time because her bowels were not working. So yeah, so I just want to thank you very much for that and bringing her back to the present, which was great. So yeah, I'm really excited. I'd love for us to, you know, if we could collectively envision this a space that we're all going to be living together, and what does that look like, and where is it going to be? Because I feel like there's so many different places it could be, and
So many different places in this beautiful realm that have been hidden from us. that I'm looking forward to finding out how far the golden zone expands. But I did want to ask, I'm sorry to, on the last Q&A, on the very last individual, and I've been to Southeast Asia and Bali and Ubud in particular, you mentioned a place that, and unfortunately, I don't know, through Patreon, we can't, unless we're on the live, we can't see the chat. Sometimes you refer to info you'll post in the chat. So I was just wondering, what was that community? Because it sounds pretty amazing. And I know the whole current country vax noise would not make that ideal in the moment, which I think will soon pass with these illusions of the vax. But I'm just curious what that community was, so I could possibly look into it a little bit now, because it seemed like it had a affordability aspect. As much as I've done my research in this quantum level, while we still believe we need money and currency, and basically putting everything into XRP from previous conversations and foreign currency and physical silver, when that time does come and that abundance in this current paradigm of thinking we need that, I'd love to have at least, I've been blessed to travel a lot of the planet, and these golden zones, many of which you speak to, between Costa Rica, I believe, Indonesia, you mentioned Thailand, and I think you're also considering southern Spain, or what? Or I think there's a top 4, right?
Yeah, those are the top 4.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was just wondering what the one in Bali, in Indonesia was, or since I couldn't look it up, and then
I'll do a post on it so you can actually have a solidified post so everybody can see it. So I'll put it up on the website and on Patreon so everyone can just click the link and have a look and investigate. I mean, the land itself and the area seems fantastic, doesn't it? Between 25 and 30 degrees all year round, with 340 days of sunshine.
fantastic. We live in Los Angeles. Very much looking forward to getting out of this urban, but I've created in a very small little yard with outside our 1-bedroom apartment. I've been blessed with this yard. I've got about, I don't know, eight fruit trees, nectarine, plum, apricot, fig, passion fruit vine spanning a 6-foot fence, at least 150 feet, giant mini lemons, blood orange, pomegranate, and then earth boxes, which
Goji
berries and earth boxes, all kinds of, well, now mostly fruits, tomatoes, cucumbers, some additional.
Well done, guys. That's amazing to hear.
This is the diligence of...
Although you have squirrel side popped up. Any suggestions with squirrels? Because literally they got every apricot before they were ripe.
Give them nuts.
Leave a bowl of nuts.
We'll go. Now they're attacking the figs, and it's a constant battle. I don't want to take away life. I'm figuring out they live on the front of this small apartment complex and have been resident for years, and I understand the reciprocation, but when it totally takes away anything and all of a tree, then it's like, hey,
yeah,
you gotta respect them for 11 figs.
They are the best.
Yeah.
Of course.
I would try to maybe get a cloth of hemp or cotton and some string, and then when you have a fig that's in its beginning stages, just put a small piece of cotton over it, then tie a rope to protect the fruit and allow it to be big enough so it can grow inside of it. It will keep pests off, birds off, and spend a nice day when they start to pop, putting some on, and it's a nice thing to know that you're getting fully protected to the sweetest stage.
I think in Indonesia they put a whole net over the whole tree, and then the squirrels and the birds only peck at the outer ones, and then the inside get left. But I'm not sure if the squirrels will be able to get inside, or they're very clever.
Yeah, but I would do that. As that arises, put some nuts at the bottom of the tree, keep them distracted.
Yeah, to the community with the fruit forest, so there's so much abundance that the animals and we can share and not worry about 1 or 2 trees of certain types that sort of don't have anything left. They don't even
Yeah.
get to the ripening.
And that's the
Yeah.
beauty of it. You know, when you get to these tropical places, a lot of the fruits got such hard shells, they're protected themselves, you know, like the durians, the jackfruits, the breadfruits, even bananas.
Mangosteens,
you know,
all of the
they're very tough on the outside. Coconuts, you know, having a squirrel steal them.
And the durian, I remember, you have to be below 500 meters. And I'm so looking forward to that particular fruit, especially with the recent gnosis you gave on how it's, I mean, as much as it's absolutely delicious and unique, but the fact that it's, I mean, all the fruit supports, right? But the level of which you said that the durian has the energetic for all of us on so many levels, that I think you, if correct me if I'm wrong, said that you would like to be in an area that has that altitude parameter so that you can grow it.
I wouldn't accept anything less, truly, than a place that could grow durians effortlessly all year round. Now, essentially, it would be wonderful initially, possibly, to try and have a place in south of Spain and somewhere in Asia, so you could go to and from if the seasons didn't, you know, go with your lifestyle. Sunshine is a wonderful thing if people don't like rainy seasons. But another thing, you know, if you're a hungry fruitarian, as in you never feel satiated, you can't get enough calories in, you try and, like we're doing this training, and the meat eaters wonder how we would get calories. Just 1 kilo of durian is 1,350 calories itself.
Wow.
That's why it's called the king of fruits.
And a coconut is 1,000, you know, 10 bananas is 1,000 calories. I wonder where these meat eaters get their calories from.
But the calories are so different because they're not toxic. They don't get held as toxic waste around your waist. They move with the body. The energy that we were speaking about, it just gets used straight away, and it's you know, for it to ferment, it doesn't take a long time. It goes straight through the system. It cleans the system. It does what it needs to do, and the bacteria that's there in the gut to help with it creates a healthy, balanced gut bacteria microbiome in the gut. And this is when we begin to heal, truly heal, when we've got the fruits in the right tropical zone, because the fruits that we're having here in the UK, I don't know about you guys, but they're imported. They're not what they're supposed to be. They're not in balance. You can tell that they're slightly, you know, well, they're picked unripe, so they haven't got the right nutritional value. So when we go somewhere like the tropics, these fruits can't be shipped. This is why you very rarely see them at their prime, because they can't be shipped in their ripe state. So this is why we need to get to that equatorial zone where the die state is, where all life
it will present itself. You know, we're still in observant opportunities. The pandemic is changing now. Areas are opening up. Indonesia is still requesting vaccines at this particular time, but we would be there in a heartbeat looking right now if it wasn't the case. You know, and other concepts may arise if you try to falsify documents. Imagine if the ones that get vaccinated get recalled into a space because something has been found out to be manipulating the body because of vaccines, you know. So we're just allowing life to be and following the trail. So we look forward to it. I think Thailand is a great opportunity that's opening up very, very nicely. But essentially Indonesia really has a heart, very much.
The actual culture, the culture and the beings that are there surrounding the area, you know, they do ceremonies every day. They bless everything. They have so much gratitude for life and for their food, for each other, with their neighbors and their friends. They're just so beautiful and loving and welcoming, and it's got a very high.
And it's funny why, you know, the Western world, especially where we grew up seeing this type of education, that the Chinese and the Asians they look young and they live long because they had a rice and fish diet. You see the abundance of fruit that grows in China, in Asia, in all of these islands, in the local markets. I mean, have you ever seen a place on earth that you walk outside and every street is lined with fruit? This is why.
And I feel like it's a crime in the urban that we used to have all the fruit, but they took it out so that the knowledge of knowing that you can grow your own food and that the trees continuously give and give and give. So I know the orange groves here in Southern California. I always am amazed when we drive around. It's like all of these shade trees could be fruit trees, you know?
Yeah, of course.
And
of course.
Yeah. But I'm so holding that vision, and I'm so excited for the opportunity, especially when the free energy and the transport of it, almost instantaneous, if you will. So to me, like the home is almost like will soon be an illusion. And whether you want to call it that electromagnetic spaceship working with the ether, that's just hovering about where you want to be for a certain amount of time until we realize we are those ships and hopefully can just telekinetically go through the portals, if you will.
While others are playing gardening games, we'll be gardening.
Building our tesseract.
Yes.
Yes, wonderful. So lovely to see you both.
Thanks for joining us today. It's so beautiful.
So glad to finally see you and meet you in person. And thank you for this journey. Thank you so much.
Thank you, brother and sister.
You've done a great job, I would say, because that's persecution. You've done great with your own experiences, and we're so happy to be a part of your experience. So thank you so much.
We love you.
I love you both.
Have a beautiful day.
Love to all your family.
You too.
Thank you. You too, to little X. Can't wait to meet you guys and hug you one day.
Oh, yes.
Be lovely.
Soon to come.
And thank you for posting that info on the Indonesian.
Yeah. Perfect. Love and light to both of you, your beautiful family. Send love to your mom.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I think we have come to the end. So thank you all so much for joining us today. It's been an absolute pleasure, as usual, sharing this wonderful space. Remember never to look far. It is what you are looking from, which is your source. You are it. Stay present. Keep making the righteous choices and enjoy every moment. You are the gift, and you are experiencing true love. Have a beautiful day, beautiful night, beautiful moments, and we shall see you very soon. Take care.
Love to you all, beautiful family.
Goodbye.